of the Council on Aging, which is being held both virtually or by Zoom and in person. Pat Wheeler's here, I'm here. Victoria's here. You all are there. You all, no nodding off, you're in view. We're gonna skip the minutes
Gonna take attendance formally.
and, oh yeah, attendance. Little boy just told me to take attendance. Karen Schultz. Are you in attendance, Karen Schultz?
Here. Sorry,
Oh.
I was muted.
All right. Karen Schultz is a mutant. Rachel Boyer
I'm coming.
coming. Lori Fairbay, we don't know yet. Kate Bliss,
Here.
Pat Wheeler,
Here.
Bob Blair here. Chris Keefe there. Victoria hiding around the corner. All right. Welcome. We'll catch the minutes of the previous meeting sometime later. About some fiscal updates from Victoria.
All right, Karen, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okey doke. So, donations last month were $428
Even?
even. Part-time wages were $1,653.36.
Okay.
Expenses were $2,418.10.
Okay.
And then my wages are $3,225.30.
Got it.
Where did the expenses go?
So 1,900 of the expenses were grab and go.
Okay.
Actually, 2,000 was grab and go.
2000.
Yeah, just about was grab and go. Then the rest of it, we did have the van serviced. They did do the wheelchair lift and they took a look at the roof, that leak in the roof hatch. The roof hatch work was all under warranty, but to do a tuning of the wheelchair lift, I think was like $240. And the rest of it's just gas. And Tai Chi.
So Tai Chi and yoga are both going full blast now?
Yes.
Good.
When is that?
Tai Chi is Tuesday afternoons at 1 p.m., either in person or online
That's here or 1870?
here.
Okay.
And then yoga is here on Saturday mornings from 9 to 11, both in person or online.
And that's on Saturday,
Yes,
and this is
Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
Blood pressure clinics?
They have resumed. We have a new Neshoba nurse. Her name is Alicia. She's a new hire for them, so she is going to be doing blood pressure clinics. So the next one will be Thursday at 10 a.m. here.
Does she replace
She replaces
Tamara Bedard?
Tamara's still the head of it, but she wasn't the head of Berlin. So we had, for the longest time, we had Susan who left, and then we had a fill-in for a month named Megan. And so Alicia replaces them.
Okay. So we still have Tamara Bedard as the head of the.
Yeah, of
Is it
community
yes?
outreach. Yep.
Yeah, and Alicia is
Our
present one.
Yes.
Kidoki, and van update you already gave us.
Yep, so what wound up happening was the van went to Mobility Works at the beginning of the month to look at the wheelchair system. It's fine, but they recommend like a year to 18-month tune-up just to make sure everything's still in good working order, which it is. And then they looked at the roof hatch. So it turns out what wound up happening was that the screw holes of which they used to secure the roof hatch to the van wasn't properly caulked. So that's why the water dripped in. So they recaulked it. I've told John and Betty Ann, if they see even a drop of water, it is going back. So we've gotten nothing since then. So they know.
Tomorrow will be a good test. Isn't it supposed to pour tomorrow?
Yeah, we,
like predictions.
yeah, so we'll see if, like I said, if anything happens, they know about it. It's on Fred's radar as well. Just he, he's like, if we have any issues with it too, he can help us do something temporarily to block the water so we can, until we can get it back up there. But I'm thinking for right now, fingers crossed for that.
Oh.
Okay.
Van.
Mm.
It's a lovely thing.
How about ridership? How's that going?
Ridership's good. This week, I think we have 3 days of rides scheduled. We're averaging, I'd say, about 4 days of rides, easy. We've been trying to push people to give us as much notice as possible. So a lot of our regulars are now calling for rides now well into December, if not the beginning of the year.
Makes
So
sense.
it makes us a lot easier. The drivers are aware to keep an eye on the roads. If for any reason they're having issues where they live, if we have issues here, they know the policy that if I'm always conservative. Peggy knows that and the riders know that. So, and I've already told the drivers they have final say if they feel like something is uncomfortable, even if the road, even if we don't have like a
Mere
delay or something.
Conditions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
We
I
have-
mean,
We have all weather tires on that. We don't have snow tires.
it's all weather tires. Yeah. But unfortunately the van is 2-wheel drive. It's not all-wheel
Yeah,
drive. So it just, but most people, what we do is, especially when a snowstorm's coming, Peggy and I are very, like Peggy especially is very good about calling, saying like, do you actually really want to have this ride? If the snow's coming, 95% of the rides get canceled
Yeah.
if they know a storm's coming, and then we just rebook them and
Yeah.
it's fine.
Supposed to be actually one prediction I heard is it's supposed to be a relatively lightweight winter.
Well, let's see what happens.
Well, I've had two predictions. One told me we were gonna get dumped on. And then somebody else told me just a few days ago that we're gonna have a very mild winter. And
So let's see.
I'm hoping for a mild winter,
Maybe they meant we're gonna get dumped on with rain instead of snow.
maybe, because we really probably need some water.
Oh, we do.
After last summer, all our yards are,
Post. Blood pressure clinic, you already indicated.
Yeah.
First Thursday, 10 a.m., new nurse Alicia, grab and go meals.
Guys, I think I got Rachel on the thing, so I'm just trying to promote her. Okay. Let me just see if this is,
Rachel, you are now Brownie first class.
see if we can, hold on, I just want to make sure she can hear us.
It may not be a promotion.
Yeah.
But it sounded good to me.
So, all right, what we'll do, let me see if I can ask her to unmute and then we'll see if she can do it. So for the grab and go meals, it was a big success. Everybody was very happy with the meals. Went through very swimmingly as a whole.
How
We
many altogether?
7, no, we ordered 100.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of, I think we distributed 90 or so, and then some people got bigger portions of things than others, and it, like I said, it all worked out. So, but what I wanted to say is that we got a request to host another grab and go before the holidays. Might be tough, but maybe even after the holidays. As you guys know, like in the past, Northbrook used to have like their annual like Christmas parties, and I mean, we used to
Yep.
have it too. I don't know, it doesn't sound like Northbrook is planning anything for this year, or hasn't been for the residents, I think since COVID at the very least.
Northbrook One is doing, handing out pies to people who want them. I know.
So people had actually asked if we would be willing to do another turkey dinner as an option for a grab and go. Wanted to talk to you guys about it. It was specifically requested by a couple different people. So if you want to do it, we can.
Usually as a grab and go or as a served on site.
As a grab and go, I think. We can debate about, I didn't know if we wanted to do something, we target Northbrook, but like we do with the other ones, still open it up to everybody, because I don't want somebody who wants the meal to go without. But we could make it very streamlined and have one be like a pure turkey dinner. And then for those who may be vegetarian or who wouldn't eat turkey, we offer like a lasagna or something like that. And those are your two options. And, you know, we make it very kind of streamlined that way. But I wanted to ask what your thoughts were.
That's true. At one point, Northbrook was hosting a seniors dinner for their residents, and I think the Lions put on a senior
Seniors,
dinner.
Lions Club used to do it also.
And I think COVID has kind of messed things up,
Yes.
but I don't know why.
Because I think
Not yet
ultimately
back
what we
to
could
the
do is, I think come the spring, we could trial a luncheon in person if you guys wanted to do it. I think we have to see how winter goes, because if COVID and now especially RSV and the flu, if
That's it.
those seasons take off, I think people are gonna get skittish. But, you know, if we wanted to do something, that's fine then. This might be a good trial run for it. We could hypothetically, if the grab and go is a go, we could do it more like during the lunchtime hours or earlier in the day as opposed to dinner time, but there will be an audience we will miss if we do it
At
for a later,
lunch.
you know, instead of a later pickup.
And you can't do a site-specific one like just Northbrook, because then you've got the whole community of over 55s.
Yeah, you got Brook Lane, you've got Mosaic, you've got, you know,
Up the hill here.
right, and I don't wanna say no to a, you know, particular group of people, but
Well, that's why an on-site is, I mean, a live one is best, because then people can come. And if somebody is transportation, has a problem with transportation and can't get there, or doesn't want to travel there, then that can be delivered.
Yeah,
What do you all think, you silent mob over there?
I'm good with an extra grab and go. Somebody said something to me, but I think she was eager to have us, you know, have an in-person one again at Northbrook. So,
In Northbrook. Interestingly, I believe I'm hearing rumors that First Parish may be opening up their first floor hall again, that they may have ironed out their,
difficulties.
yeah. Although I think Barry said that they were none too disappointed to be not doing it, because some people aren't protecting against COVID and they don't want to get them in there all smooshed in. So I guess that's at least worth a check.
Hmm.
And that would seat. When the seniors are doing it, how many would you guess? Like 50?
I would say 50.
I think the concerns, I mean, if we wanted to do something for the holidays, I don't think a sit down. That may, I think, take more time to plan out as opposed to a grab and go.
Yeah,
So like if we wanted to do something closer towards like the end of the year, the very beginning of like January, grab and go may be the way to go, but not to rule out a sit down later on in the year.
Yeah.
and it depends.
like
too.
in the new year, you mean? A sit
Yeah,
down and,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
And you gotta be careful, because I think older people, they don't need to be sick.
right,
And if you got them closer.
right. Cause the thought is
Fine,
even
but-
if we wait till like April or something like that, we could even do something outdoors.
Outside,
So people aren't then gonna be worried, or like if you've got to crack open all the windows, no one's gonna worry because
Yeah.
it's at least warm enough that
Right.
that risk goes down.
And their teeth can be
Yeah.
used chewing instead of chattering. Okay, so are we wanting to consider a grab and go just pre or post holiday?
the people that did this last one, are they the ones that we're considering for this one?
They're the ones that they're the only ones we've ever gotten like such positive feedback on, and universal, like we've never had a bad meal out of them. Like, I would say we hear back from at least a third telling us how much they like it.
What
And
would their availability be though, so close to the holidays? Do we know?
so they were saying that right around the holiday, like right before Christmas, it is booking up. But we could try to either do something either like in between like Christmas, New Year's, or we could even try to do something, I think, even towards the beginning of the year. Which may even be better, because then that's something that for people who don't have a lot to look forward to,
Yeah,
gives
Yeah,
them something to
right.
look forward to, and it gives us plenty of time to advertise it and get the word out.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
better.
that's, yeah.
The one week.
Yeah, I would say definitely not before Christmas. I don't,
Yeah, and between Christmas and New Year's, everybody's still kerfuffling around trying to
So we
get
could,
over
so we
Christmas
could
and
aim for
prepare for
something
New
like,
Year's.
you know, towards like the, you know, first full weekish of January, because then that gives like enough time, we can figure out, you know. And it will give us enough time to have it posted in the Powder House for sign up and things of that nature, so.
Yeah, could even go for, yeah, somewhere within the first couple of weeks.
Of January, and it, like I said,
January.
it's something
Yeah.
nice to look forward to, you know, post-holiday.
Have you ever priced out just doing like a Thanksgiving or Christmassy kind of turkey meal? Turkey and veggies?
With them, it's probably gonna be about like 13 a person, but it's not, but again, like, as you guys know, like you get a decent portion for the money. It's not,
Yeah,
I think if we were to go with other people, we could see if we could get a better deal. I don't want us to then go with somebody else because these ones are so well reviewed
Yeah.
and so well liked, and it's not like you can go to their restaurant and get their food. It's like, because they are a catering company,
right.
you're not gonna have this access normally, so. But I mean, it's truly up to you guys.
We could wait till the flat penny / track / whatever it is opens and
She was just telling
serve
me,
a Mexican meal.
Yeah.
before we had these grab and goes with this de jour, we had that other company in Marlboro. And we were happy with them too.
Who was that?
I'd have to look it up.
We had tried the store, which was catering the Berlin seniors things in
Yeah.
Perth Parish. They did a creditable job.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ed is up for doing that now or not.
I don't know if he's got the staff at this point.
Yeah, he just had a couple of big, what he called big orders, and it was like 30 or 40.
Yeah.
Just,
And like I said, I think if we give enough notice, I mean, we'd go well over 100 meals, well over. Probably, I'd say close to probably maybe even 150.
I visited yesterday at Northbrook. I have friends down there and
They
they were,
let you in? I thought that was a pretty exclusive community.
you know, you gotta have a little bit of clout. They were some of the girls were complaining about the portion of desserts. And I said, I wasn't there, so I didn't know. They said, they were-
You mean on the last grab and go?
yes,
Huh,
they
okay.
said they were a
It was
little,
cheesecakes.
I didn't get one. So
It was like cake and cheesecake and stuff like that.
it was, yeah, that's what they were.
They
Okay.
wanted a bigger wedge or?
Well, they said they were kind of little skimpy, so
Yeah.
I didn't see any of it, so I don't know. So I thought, well,
That's
you
fair.
know
Well,
what?
that's fine. We can just ask for a bigger.
I just
cut.
thought I always thought they had adequate portions.
Yeah.
Maybe inflation, because I feel like when they did the apple crisp or something, it filled that.
Yeah,
And then,
I always thought there were
I
plenty
mean,
of,
yeah.
you know, but
yeah, I didn't even see what the dessert was this last time, so.
They have some crust wanting a larger piece of pie. No,
I
no,
wasn't there.
no.
All good.
me
I
either.
still have leftover in my
So
refrigerator. from
do you guys
Thanksgiving.
want me to check like their ability towards the beginning of the new year? And then what we can do is like, you know, we can offer like a turkey dinner or maybe something like a lasagna or a pasta for somebody who's a vegetarian or who doesn't eat turkey. Like we can make it very streamlined. We don't have to make it like the 3 or 4
Two
options,
choices. Yeah.
you know, and just say that this is like a post-holiday meal, you know?
Feeling? What's up? What does anybody think?
Hey,
Is that a yes or a or a what?
that's a yes from me.
Yes.
That's
All right. Kate, as the thumbs up.
And
Gotta
then,
give the
Rachel,
thumbs
do you
up.
have
Yes,
a-
Can you
from
guys hear
me.
me now?
hi, Rachel, we got you.
You're a black box with Rachel Boyer written across.
Hi, sorry, I've been having issues with the volume.
Oh, no, it's okay. What are your thoughts? Rachel?
I've been hearing you guys the whole time though, and
Okay.
I think that sounds like a good idea to do early January, and I think if we got positive feedback on the last the caterer that we using that again, probably is a good idea.
Do you guys want this to be more of like a lunchtime thing or make this a pure grab and go where it's a little bit later in the
Let's make
day?
it more lunchtime because then it's easier if you have any squirrely road conditions for delivery.
That's true.
Okay,
It's harder for those of us who are working in the middle of the day, though. Then
That-
you're down a few helpers.
because Amy did a majority, like, you know, you and Amy were the ones doing the deliveries and They,
I can drive faster.
possibly.
Daytime?
Oh, boy. So,
Food may be a little mixed by the time it gets there. It's sloshing around.
No
Yeah,
one
I-
wants to
but,
eat it
well,
off the
take the
inside of
last
your
two
car,
times.
Bob.
During the daytime would be difficult for me as well to help out, but if you had enough helpers, then, you know,
Yeah, same here for me.
Absent the helper situation, you think the middle of the day is better in some respects?
say that again?
If you didn't have to worry about helper situation, would you say the middle of the day or, regular supper time is the better choice?
Any time of day is fine with me. I just can't help out in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
the only thing about having it midday here as a pickup site is that the parking lot will potentially be
yeah,
full.
that's right. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I would say if we were gonna do something, we could do a little bit earlier, like, I would say the cars start to thin out around 3 o'clock. So like, we could do a little bit earlier and bump it up.
well,
know.
except that people are either gonna eat at supper time or they're gonna eat at lunchtime, so I think if we're gonna
Okay,
scoot
fair
them
enough.
out, it should be for the evening meal.
Are people, like I found, I was out there greeting some folks and I swear they were in like their jammy pants picking up the car. I mean, the meal. So maybe earlier would be.
What was the time that we were doing it?
So we had it as pickups started at 4,
Right,
between 4 and 4:30 is when pickups started.
and the end of the run was like
6.
5:30.
Yeah, 6 was the absolute end of it.
Didn't we have nobody for the last hour? Or like
We-
one person?
Yeah, we had like 1 or 2 people that were left, and then we did one pickup at like 5:20, and then that was it. Yeah,
So you think 3 to 5 instead of 4 to 6?
Yeah,
we could try it.
Yeah, just so they get, well, of course, they can reheat meals. You can deliver them anytime they can reheat
Yeah.
them.
mhm.
Okay, let's,
I can ask them that. I can ask, because what I can
well,
do is,
3 to 5, also, if people are coming to pick it up, they'll feel better when there's daylight instead. of-
right,
Yeah,
because what
Yeah.
I'll ask them, like, I'll tell them we're aiming to do a little bit earlier than our past ones, see how fast they can get here, because it's gonna take them a good 45 minutes to an hour to box up, like especially the to-go meals.
Right,
So I'll see how early they can get here, and we can do our best to start this earlier. So like you said, because it will be darker sooner. So
Yeah.
we wanna help out as much people as we can.
yeah.
Okay,
Sounds good.
I could do that.
are we including wine with the meal this time? I take that
Troublemaker.
as a no. Okay,
I just want Kate to know that those were not my jammy pants.
I wasn't specifically referring to you.
those are not what?
Her jammy pants.
Oh,
That's
You gotta-
awesome.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
that day, anyway.
When I lived in Worcester, we had a dear neighbor across the street who had a large family, and she used to go out in the station wagon and deliver her kids to school in the morning, various schools around town. And she would go off in, I guess, partly jammies and her fluffy slippers, which all worked tremendously well until one day when the car broke down. And she had to go up and knock on somebody's door in her jammies and fluffy slippers. Ask for help. I think she went with army boots after that, but who knows? So that's good. I think that's great, having another grab and go. First 2 weeks somewhere, probably toward the end of first 2 weeks in January.
I just want to clarify, no judgment was coming from me with that statement. Just,
Oh, I
you
know.
know, people, it's getting darker, it's getting colder, and they want to be cozy inside. That was where I was going.
I'm just teasing you.
But it is winter, so I think slipper-y is sort of apropos. Okay, grab and go meals. Now we're zooming down to Powder House News.
Yep. So,
Liturgicals.
yeah,
sign
our
up
last,
To this next edition.
yep, our last deadline with LPI is gonna be on the 20th. So what we'll do is, I'll talk to Lori, about that and just make sure we can get everything in that we want to get in. I would say because it's Christmas week, it's leading up to Christmas, if we can get it in a little sooner, it'd be better. I have
Right.
reached out to James to get the information for the, you know, those who've passed and get the, stickers for the
Right.
mailings. I did pay a visit yesterday to Clinton Offset. I wanted to talk to the Joes. I am working on a letter for sponsorship request on behalf of the council for our powder house once it goes to Clinton Offset. And I had talked to the guys about, you know, they're still willing to take us on, stuff like that. They're gonna give me an updated quote. I'm gonna email them in the morning to get it. Cause I told them I want a rough figure, so I can tell sponsors like in the letter, like, this is what, like, you know, this is how much it's costing us per issue, like not including postage. We're just looking to help, you know, defray the costs.
And we're not doing visual ads, we're doing a listing of.
We're
people
gonna be
who are-
doing a listing as of right now. If I will talk to Kristen and get clarification. If we can do the individual blocks like we've done with Powder House.
Yeah.
I mean, with the LPI, I'm not against it. I just want to make sure that it's not coming off as like, you know, we're advertising for all of these people. If we do a sponsorship, I had talked to the Joes and I had asked them, I said, could we do like list of name and then like contact information for them next to their names? So if people wanted to reach out to them, they would still have a way to do it, but we offer that to everybody and make it as equitable,
Well,
and
I
fair
don't
as
see why
possible.
you couldn't have something saying support our sponsors. Name. business, and
Well-
address.
I'll figure that out, but we will have something designated there. They said it's fine, no issue. Clinton Offset can fold, label, and drop everything off to the post office as part of it. So what I will do is I will give them, they are asking for the list of all the households that we're doing the, you know, mailings for, and that's fine. They said that they, believe it or not, I guess if it is leaving the town of Berlin, like postals area, you're supposed to put multiple tabs on it. Don't ask me why, but that is what they told me, because that's what they've been told by the post office. So if a mailing is going outside of the town of Berlin, you
Well, I
have,
would assume when they're doing that folding and tabbing that they would do all of them the same, just.
yeah,
Right.
so, and then we talked about postage and how it's costing us a mint, and they were saying that ideally, it is not, like, the post office is not supposed to be having these powder houses leave town if they are Berlin, if we're
Right,
going to Berlin
right,
post
right.
office.
That never made sense to me.
But I told them, I said, we are 99.9% sure they're all going to Shrewsbury for distribution, and then they're coming right back, because it's taking multiple days for
Yeah,
us
but
to
I'm
get this.
wondering, in the more recent editions, I'm thinking maybe they're not, maybe they're, because they're turning them around in like a day and a half or two.
If that's the case, like I said, because if it is, I don't know, I will get clarification from them, but they're saying that they will hand deliver it to the post office, and, you know, that's why they're asking for the list of which ones are going to Berlin specifically versus not. Because if it's not, those ones have to have the normal processing, like going to the distribution to go out.
So they're probably figuring on having a separate stack of ones that are out of
Yes.
Berlin.
Yes,
Yeah, that makes
so that's the
sense.
thought.
Good for them. I
So-
love the idea of them folding it and putting the edge
I do too.
goobies.
I do too. So that will save us a bunch of time and a little bit of money. So now I don't have to buy these foldy sticky thingies.
Oh, I thought you meant the honorarium you're providing for all the people who fold and put the stickers on.
We'll think about it.
You guys agreed to that, didn't you?
So, so when I get the updated quote, I will forward the information over to you guys. But I just wanted to let you, you know, just make you aware that they're still good with it. Just the quote of 530 that they gave you earlier in the year is now gonna go up. with it.
530 an issue?
530 per stack, yeah. So it's probably gonna be higher. So when I get, like I said, when I get the formal numbers, I'll let you guys know. But I told them, I said, we'd much rather go with you guys anyway. You're local. If we had to pick them up for whatever reason, because you couldn't bring them to the post office, it's not a big deal,
Yeah,
you know,
don't have to
so.
drive out to Michigan to get them or wherever. they-
Connecticut, it's Hartford. So, and then they were saying that they, I'm gonna just talk to Lori and see if she needs anything. They said it's basically like a PDF file that
Yeah.
if she emails it like that, they can just print them as they are.
Wow,
So it's not an issue.
that's a sea change, a welcome one.
So just wanted to let you guys know. So I told them, I'm like, we'll give them like 2 weeks notice. You know, we can give them out and give them like a 2-week window to get it out, but from what it sounds like, it won't even be a week.
So we can do an Elon Musk here. You guys are all fired now. We
No.
don't need you anymore. No, maybe not.
but I
Okay.
just wanted to let you guys know. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
where
great.
we're standing. So what I'm doing is I've also asked James for a list of all of the companies in Berlin, like all of the different businesses and things like that,
Hmm.
because we'll use them for sponsorships. And then I'm also looking at who's sponsoring the Powder House now. And then I'm also looking at other businesses that may have like a vested interest in wanting to reach the Berliners.
Right,
So we can, solicit them as well. And I'll ask Amy and June as well, like businesses that that maybe that the town contracts with that, again, may want to.
yeah, we ought to at least consider putting a limit on how many undertakers we use
Well,
for advertisements.
about
I think it's
Gillis?
a little Depressing. Gillis, that's
Yeah.
not bad.
I mean, they were doing the landscaping stuff. I think the day of the grab and go.
Yeah, they,
Oh, up front.
Um,
Did they do the
Yeah.
parking lot?
I think so.
was-
yeah, they redid all of that.
Oh, excellent.
So, and then
I'll
it-
ask them. Yeah. I mean, at this point, what we can do is if we get like an umpteen million solicitors, like people like wanting to sponsor for the
Yeah.
Powder House, we can make the determination from there. We can figure it out from there. I don't know how many people we're gonna get, so I want to just cast an open net just to see. But
Yeah.
if we need to regulate it and we need to say, like the first 25 or whatever, fine, you know what I mean? I don't know like what we're gonna get, but if we wind up getting a surprising turnout, we'll deal with it.
Yeah. There are a pile of landscape companies in town too. Speaking of Gillis, and I mean, you see their trucks going around all the time. I'm not sure how many of those you'd end up with, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were 4 or 5.
The good news is too, is that I did talk to the Joes about if we wanted to expand the Powder House, either have it go monthly or add in pages.
Yeah.
They said if we were to add, they were like, it's an insert, it's not the end of the world, very easy to do. Or if we wanted to do it monthly as opposed to bi-monthly, they're fine with it. I would just want to give them, ample notice before we make a
When they
change.
say 560, is that printing or is that? printing,
530, it
and
was
Postage.
postage is the part of it I gotta figure out the cost of, but it was $530 for 700 printed color folded tabbed papers.
And addressed.
Yes, as long as they have the information. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the postage part of it. I gotta figure out how we're gonna get the money in. That's all.
Right.
But
that's-
again-
That's not part of the 530.
No,
Okay.
No.
And what's it been running us now?
I don't know. I'm waiting for their quote. Oh, LPI says that they were averaging
No, I mean, what has the postage been running us?
375 almost, and it's gonna go up again January 23rd,
So you're talking close to 900 to $1,000
an issue. So that's why I'm saying if we get sponsorships, they could potentially cover the cost of the paper and postage. And or like I said, if we wanted to expand the paper or make it monthly,
Yeah,
if we knew we had the sources in, But yeah, it's like I said, I just read postage is going up again permanently January 23rd. It's going up to 61 cents a stamp and
when are they gonna get rid of DeJoy, the guy who's lousing up the system?
so yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys that heads up as well. So is there any topics or people that you want to have highlighted or anything like that? It is going to be, like a new year issue. So, if we wanted to have it be kind of more like resolution based or something like that, we could, it's.
Well, I think we're looking to continue having the recipes. which-
Yep, I think recipes are great. They were great. I enjoyed reading them.
And featuring a couple of people
Mm.
in town.
Okay.
At some point, somebody suggested maybe we should do, here's the XYZ committee and there's this committee and that committee, so you have everybody on it.
Yeah,
We could highlight a committee, a board committee council with each issue and then say, we will hit all of them at some
Right.
point.
Right,
We could.
okay, so that's something to think about. Does anybody have any nominees for meet the person?
We, I know we will, they're in the process now of a new treasurer and a new fire chief.
Oh,
So
right,
when they get announced and they start, we can ask them, but I don't know timing wise how that will be with the 20th,
Well,
so.
Dennis ends at the end of January
Yes, and then fire chief is retiring at the end of the year.
of this year. Wowzer.
So they're looking, so they're looking, so.
So our deadline for submissions anyway for the January, February would be just
bottom line.
third week in December. Maybe even a little bit, well, if we could, a little bit earlier, it gives more time to fiddle around before you run into holiday bumps.
When do you think they'll be delivered? Beginning of January?
It's gonna depend. So it's gonna depend on when they get to LPI, when Lori can submit it. So I would say if say perchance it goes by the 20th, they'll probably be processed that Monday, so that's the 21st. They might get delivered here by Christmas, maybe slightly after. And then again, we'd have to, seal, stamp, all that jazz, and then bring them down to the post office.
Yeah,
So it's close to the end of the year, I would say, but if we can get it in a little bit sooner, I would say they probably would be delivered before the end of year.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm just thinking about 19 Carter's schedule.
I mean,
No.
what I was thinking,
My daughter's singing here. So I'm talking, it's highly distracting. Sorry.
it's okay.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to, I don't want to have stuff in the schedule in there that has already passed when it gets delivered, because.
I mean, something else we can do too, is we can have like, I'll talk about it, the community needs assessment again. We can do a little blurb about the Twinkle Tour and like, when it opens up on December 3rd, on Saturday for everybody in town, and, the Christmas celebration down at, center of town. We can have a write-up about that if we wanted to.
well, it would be a post-mortem, it would be
Yeah,
reporting
but
on what
just,
happened.
to, for those who maybe couldn't go or whatever that
We'd
way.
also have a piece in about the grab and go meals.
Yep.
And as to the 5 Ws. Had somebody offer to give me some story about the hurricane, I think of 38. That came through, and he actually has a picture of our house, which I will describe as the Jones house, because they were the ones who were in it at the time. When the huge oak tree on one side of it went against the house and apparently knocked it off the foundations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then they towed it back on, which is why our hallways are not necessarily straight, but it's charm, it's old house charm. All right, so if
How old is your house?
1860s original part, 96, we did a full renovation, in 2017, a second one. So I mean, that's a example of something, but if anybody has a story you think would be interesting or want to pursue it, or know somebody you think is a good storyteller. I know Walter Bickford is amenable to being asked to do further stories. He's got a big ditty bag of stories dating back from when he was a kid, and well, Barry Ager, if you ask him about anything in town, historically, he's got all these names and figures and dates. So any of that stuff is possible, but if you have any inspiration about something you'd like to know more about, let us know, so we can ask people to do it up for us in the next 2.5 weeks. Okay. Anybody else on Powder House? FYIs?
I got just a couple, budget request for FY24 is in. Its due date is tomorrow, so what I'm gonna do is I'll meet with personnel and with FinCom come probably the beginning of the year to go over that. Town has approved 2.5% budget increase, so for the council for expenses, that's about $500. As it stands right now, 75% of our budget is going between postage, gas, and paid services. So, I'm gonna argue that with them and just say like, our budget needs to go up. We do have the formula grant money that we'll be getting in this year. Plus, we do have the pittance from the last couple of years because we haven't spent that money. Yeah, it's not a lot of wiggle room. So when we switch to Clinton offset, if we can get some additional sponsorship, for the postage, at least that'll take a bit of the burden off of us. Because like I said, unfortunately, just with the cost of everything, it is what it is. We are gonna run out of money this year in terms of expenses. At some point, we'll have to, I've talked to June about it already. And she said that if there's specific expenses, we can have it come out of the donations account from like the formula grant side of it
Hmm.
without an issue. But it's almost December and we're almost halfway gone.
Hmm.
So, and like I
And we
said,
go until the end of June.
until the end of June.
Yeah.
So we're like, which we're about 40-ish%, between 40 and 45% gone. It's gas and postage. It's killing us. And like I said, unfortunately, when we all submitted our budgets last year, none of us foresaw this happening. So it is what it is. But I will be able to do everything we want to do, but I've just try to be as open and honest with you guys since the beginning, just to give you all a heads up. So we'll see how that goes. I don't see there being any issues with the budgets or anything like that. I don't see us getting what we're requesting.
So if it, and Chris, you may be more tuned into this than we, if we wanted to raise funds, it would be not by the Council on Aging, it would be by Friends of the Council on Aging who would do that?
I guess so. I mean, is that how the bylaws are set up?
Yes, so from what I have been told, we cannot solicit for
No.
specific, like, we can't solicit people as a town
Okay.
entity. But if it's a friends group like the library,
Yeah.
they can. If they so, if we so choose to have one.
Can the same members on Council on Aging be friends of the Council on Aging or no?
I will ask Kristen that.
Mhm.
I am not sure. We may be able to have like one or two members that overlap. I don't know, like if every Council on Aging member could also be friends of the Council on Aging. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we may be able to have a little overlap, but I don't think we can
Yeah.
have a whole.
That's worth checking out
Um,
anyway.
So, I mean, it is definitely a resource that almost every other city and town around has
Mhm.
to get some additional funding.
And yet there are some who have relationships with their
Yeah,
support.
and it
groups.
sucks. And then and I don't want that, obviously. Like, I wouldn't want us to have, if we were to have that, I would want us to, have them still be included with, with things and,
Yeah. I mean, Lancaster just went through a real
yeah, they did.
coup show with their Council on Aging and director and supposedly support group, kind of the knife. That
So,
wasn't cool.
and, I did talk to them too about so as of right now, some cities and towns do charge, like for bus rides, things like that. I'm not saying we have to do this. But the way that we would be, as a council would be able to do it is we would have to have a revolving fund
Yeah,
of the funds that have to be used up by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That got dissolved a few years ago before I started. That was
revolving
dissolved,
funds.
the
did?
revolving funds for the council. If we wanted to, I could ask, June and Kristen how to go about to make another revolving fund for the council if we wanted to pursue that. That's also an option.
How does the donations account work? Can you just?
So as of
withdraw?
As of right now with donations, I'm having to specify like where the donations are coming from. So like if it's something that's technically for Meals on Wheels, technically that's money that should be going to MOC, and we make the yearly donation to MOC anyway. So that's pretty much where that money comes from. The rest of it has been like Tai Chi yoga and, COA van donations as a whole. So when that happens, like that is money that we can use.
But those are not self-sustaining at this point. You only
No.
get a small amount of contribution to those.
Yes. And then the formula grant, the state has lifted the restrictions on it. Beforehand, what they used to do is that they said that you used to have to spend it by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
And they used to, for like some of the bigger projects out there that some of the cities and towns would do, you'd have to use to submit, that information to them before, for the
Right.
service is rendered. They've laxed it a bit. They've kind of gone back to the directors and said, listen, like if you have a project or you have a need, it can even go towards wages. They were like, if there's something that you guys need, put it towards that. So, and they did, as with COVID, they did allow cities and towns to carry funds year to year. So we have not touched our formula grant for FY21 or FY22 yet.
Which amounts to how much?
Combined, each year was 8544. So combined, you're looking at 17. And this year, we're gonna be getting 14,500, just about,
32,
yes. This
and
one.
that's touchable for what and when?
Formula grant money, what we would do is we can use it for any expense for the council. That, as long as, again, it's a purpose for our services. So whether it's,
So it can fund Tai Chi, it can fund.
hypothetically, yes.
Yeah.
It's just, June was just telling me there's just a process, like if we were to have the funds need to be transferred out of the accounts, as opposed to having like the expenses coming directly out of it, that's more streamlined as opposed to if we needed to do a transfer.
Mm.
But at this point, like, we're not there yet, but I'm asking because I don't want us in a pickle come like May or June trying to figure this stuff out. I want to know now, so you guys know now, so
Yeah,
we can do what we want to do. Because I don't want us to not do something because of the concerns of funds, because we
Right.
do technically have them. It's just an extra step for me and it's 2 extra steps for them, but we can figure it out.
that's good.
And then the other FYI that I had is, I got a call towards the end of October, beginning of November, from a local, doctor's office out of Leominster. And they do presentations for senior centers about fall prevention and fall safety
Hmm.
for seniors specifically. Like their doctors are all orthopedics and they have PTs and stuff like that, and they can talk to people about how to, minimize your risk of a fall.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking with Chief Clark. I've told him that it's definitely a presentation I want to do for the COA, but I want to see if we can partner it with the fire department because they're huge on fall prevention, especially now for it being wintertime. I think it'd be a good collab, for public safety and for.
And this will be virtual or in person?
Both,
or
probably a hybrid. So what they said that
That's
they could do, because I asked them, I said, I'm like, like we do, like our fire station has a bigger area. So like if we wanted to do something more in person, we might be able to have a bigger draw that way, as opposed to just down here. I don't know if they're not technically bringing any equipment with them because they used to, when they've done these before, they used to bring equipment and I was like, yeah, we don't have the room for it. But they said that they'd be thrilled, especially like if we could do a team up with public safety. And, so they said that they're willing to do a hybrid model of
Is
this.
there a cost for it or they do it?
No, they do it. It's free. It's free because it's free awareness. Because the thought is like if people wanted to go to them, insurance covers their treatment if you so wanted to do it,
Yeah.
but it's still safety for everybody, which is very important,
Yeah.
especially now. So,
Well, if we have a room in which we're doing it that has a nice soft floor, I'd volunteer to be the fall guy. Be clumsy and go on my head or
because I
something.
can even ask like Chief Shartner if we could use the training room or something like that, if we wanted to. I like I said, if
This
we.
is bigger than over there. across
The
the
big
way.
one, yeah. Cause,
Yeah.
because like I said, if we got public safety involved with it, I can't see them saying no. But I do, like I said, I figured if we had it as a collaboration,
And we would get Berlin Cable to do. filming
Yep, so
for-
and they've done presentations virtually before as well. Because during COVID, it was all virtual, but and I told them, I said, I'm like, we'd have to have it at least hybrid. We do have some people who, choose to remain at home and I don't want them
Sure.
to not get this, so.
Yeah, yeah,
And they said that they were fine with that.
yeah. Especially with COVID, not
Exactly.
having exited the scene.
Quite yet.
completely.
Nope.
I have one more item on the FYIs, and that is you are submitting a request for funds to the town meeting, a warrant on the
That is.
funding for a study of whether or not we need.
So that's happening. So the community needs assessment is happening come January. That was paid through by ARPA funding. So what we're gonna do is we'll have another write-up and I'm gonna be with the select board on Monday night talking about that, kind of what that's gonna entail as a whole. The surveys are gonna go out come beginning to mid-January. Anybody 60 and older, the households are gonna be mailed the surveys directly. Those under 60 will be given contact information by postcard for like a QR code, web link and a phone number for those who, don't feel comfortable, technologically speaking,
Yeah,
they can do it
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
No one in the town offices is going to get this data. It's going straight to UMass Boston, so anonymity is ensured. And then what they're gonna do is that they are gonna tally everything up. And we get that information as a town presentation probably by May.
Who creates the questions for the
UMass
questionnaire?
Boston. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be, I'm gonna be hopefully meeting with them in the next couple weeks. They have a template of questions that they already have, and then they said if we wanted to add questions in, we can. You know, don't go crazy, but you know, if we wanted to add a few questions in here and there, we can. And then what they do is then they'll generate the surveys, they'll get them out. And, you know, again, people can choose their medium in which to complete it. We'll probably have one copy here at the town offices, just so if people are curious or if they're hesitant about completing the survey, but they want to see what's being asked, they can see it ahead of time. But it's not for us to get that information. It's solely for the, you know, for UMass Boston.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the council or council members feel like they'd like to see this before it's locked in the whatever format it's gonna be locked into, and observe it and make input.
I can't guarantee that, and I don't want to, just because like, probably what's gonna happen is that Kristen and the select board are gonna have final say over the questions. I might get a copy of it ahead of time. I don't want to promise you that I can give you a full copy of the questions. I might be able to get like a couple, or I might be able to give you the topics that are being asked. I don't want to promise you that I can give you that if I can't.
Just, I mean, is it being presented as,
It's a community needs assessment, not an elder needs assessment.
Our community.
So it's meant for everybody, 18 and older.
but is, so the community as a whole is not being invited to participate in what's asked, or they are?
Normally what winds up happening is that for cities and towns, it's usually the select boards and the heads of like who's ever in charge of the town, mayor, town manager, whatever.
Yeah.
Usually tends to have final say over the questions being asked.
Well, final say, but I'm just asking about,
If there's
Input.
particular questions or like topics that you want covered, I can push that. That I can do.
but you wouldn't know unless you saw what questions are being asked and say, why didn't they ask this, or blah, blah, blah.
I can push a request. That's all I can tell you. If there's certain things, because I would suspect that like there are going to be a lot of questions about, you know, do you feel like Berlin is currently, you know, do you feel comfortable living in Berlin, and the fact that like, do you feel like it meets your needs? Do you feel like you can get your transportation needs? Do you feel like you know, like if you had concerns about your taxes going up, do you feel like you could make your payments? Do you think that the town as a whole is meeting the needs of like, you know, seniors, kids, adults? Do you think that, you know, things like they're going to ask a lot of things like that. Like, do you feel safe in town? Things like that, like generalized like that, they are going to ask. Until we have another meeting set up with them, I don't know the exact specifics of every question going to be asked. But what I will say is that they do these surveys for seniors, like, you know, wanting like a senior center, or, you know, seniors like, you know, for fall prevention, like, you know, safety in terms of that, like in your home. I suspect it's going to be a chunk of those questions. Plus now also looking at like, you know, maybe the younger adults, like, do you feel like you can afford Berlin, you know, in the next 10, 20, 30 years? Do you know, is this a place that you want to continue to stay in? You know, things like
So
that.
it's called a community
Needs
needs assessment.
Yes.
Hmm.
Not purely senior.
Have you heard about this also, Chris? I mean, has that been discussed among the select board?
I think the last time that Victoria came, we had discussed it when she came to our meeting.
So
Hmm.
I didn't know all of the details, but you know, this is interesting.
So what is the time frame for this?
surveys are gonna go out. What they're gonna do is come the beginning of the year, postcards are gonna go out to all households, basically saying the surveys are coming. If you see this address, it's not spam. It's, you know, this is what it is.
Yeah.
For seniors, they're just gonna be notified to look out for mail of the UMass Boston address. For those households that don't have seniors in it, they're gonna be given contact information of when the survey is gonna go live and how to complete it.
And when are the answers or inputs going to be considered, and is there
So-
a public forum in which
What they're
whole
probably gonna
process
do
plays out?
is, I would say surveys are probably not gonna go out until mid to late January. And you're probably gonna have about a window, like maybe like a month or so window for
Yeah.
completion. What they are gonna do, and this is another chunk of the study, is they are looking at focal groups and they are looking at people in town of various ages to give their input as to like what's going well with Berlin, what would you like to see change in the future, things of that nature as well.
Mhm.
And those are gonna be more qualitative one-on-one mini interviews. I don't know if they're gonna be in person or if they're gonna be virtual. That part I don't know.
And then at the end of that, there's a report generated that
Yes, so what they're gonna,
summarizes.
yes, so what they're gonna do is that they're gonna collect all the information that's being collected from the, between the, focus group and the, like, the interviews and the, survey itself.
Yeah.
And then what they do is they tally everything up and they generate a report to the town of like, here's how many households responded, here's what the answers were as a whole, here are the trends that we're finding, here's what's significant for you guys to be aware of.
What do they consider a success? I mean, what percentage response out of the
So-
eligible people?
We're one of the smaller towns that they've dealt with.
Mhm.
Normally, when they do these surveys, they usually send out they usually target a group of about 5,000 people because most of the cities and towns are much bigger. And they said that success rate is between, I think, 20 and 35%, depending on the size of the town.
Hmm.
Because again, a lot of the bigger towns do a more selected study. In our case, because Berlin is so small, anybody over 18 is included. And ours is meant to be more generalizable and more broad, so we do hit all age groups.
Yep,
And just to make sure that, we all know that Berlin is wedged in between two counties. And because of that, sometimes other counties may get better services or may have more access to things. And that hurts us because we're on the county line. There may be, again, because we are such a small town, there are, maybe agencies that may think, well, Berlin doesn't need anything because it's so small. What do you mean you need things? And then you have to argue and say, no, just because we're small doesn't mean we don't need
yeah,
help,
Yeah.
support, whatever.
yeah.
And that's really what we're trying to find, because unless you have the population to make a big enough stink about something, you then need the data to back up and then just say, listen, we've done this, here's what we're finding.
Or unless you have good rapport with your state rep and state senator and
And those change, as we all know, too,
Central
so.
Mass Regional Planning, I think, yeah.
So that's kind of the thought is this is a tool that the town can use.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think this data will be helpful to pretty much every board committee and, town department. Because it's information you're gonna want to know about the constituents.
Is this the study that somewhere I saw a $25,000 figure? Is that what that funds?
Mhm.
Wow.
This.
Hmm.
It's this.
Well, I think the last sort of small survey we did, the response was tiny. So I'm hoping this is somehow,
And I think the fact too that, again, because Berlin is such a small town, I think anonymity is really important. And the fact that we're not gonna see the answers, we're just gonna see the end result like everybody else. Like, we're not gonna know if you participated or Pat participates. Like, we're never gonna know. And that's, that's not that's not something that I would wanna know either. It's just, what is a whole, what is the community saying?
Yep.
And I think just knowing that there's that layer and that like the town's out of it, I think that will help boost up some of
okay, so it goes out, you say in January?
the postcards are gonna go out probably the first or second week of January.
Mhm.
They will have a date on it as to when, probably within a week or two of those postcards is when the survey is gonna go live. So anybody over 60 will be mailed a hard copy of the survey that'll be mailed right back to UMass Boston.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just digital. And then that immediately goes to them. Once
And then
completed.
you said they allow what, 30 days or
I
60
think
days?
it's gonna probably be about a month or so. Could be, give or take.
And what do they target as a potential for a report to the community?
Goal is to have it done between May and June as a presentation to
Hmm.
the town. So it should be done by the end of the fiscal year.
Will be interesting.
I'm in a bit of a time crunch here.
You go.
Sorry to
No, it's okay, you
interrupt the
go.
discussion.
Okey-doke. Do you have anything else you want to add or ask or say Merry Christmas or any of that?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Next meeting
It is the
is at the
27th.
end of December.
The 27th
It's the 27th, yes.
Yes.
at 4.
So if you get really good Christmas gifts, don't bring them to the meeting and show them off, make the rest of us feel bad. Okay, so between Christmas and New Year's, sounds good. I think we should bring some grog or toddy or something or other to celebrate the season.
I'll use some cookies.
Merriment.
I don't know if they'll fit through the screen, but we could,
I got some champagne.
you're on. All right.
Here we go.
Well,
Yes,
you can drink it
please,
out in the
Pat.
parking lot. All right then, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Here a second.
I second.
All those in favor, Karen Schultz,
Aye.
Rachel Boyer,
Aye.
Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Pat Wheeler,
Aye.
Bob Blair, aye. Unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.